Alright guys, today I'm going to be changing out the wheel hub and bearing in my Lexus LS430. Mine's a 2005. This should apply from 2001 to 2006. I bought one on Rock Auto that had a Koyo bearing, which I think is the OEM bearing that they use on the LS430. It's a whole complete wheel hub assembly, so I'm going to change mine out. Mine has about 182,000 miles or 183,000 miles, but it's starting to make a little noise. Pretty much, since I'm redoing my whole suspension, I'm going to go ahead and change out the wheel hubs on both sides. So I'm going to link the description in the for the product in the description. So, and also I'll provide the torque specifications. So in order for us to remove the wheel hub, we'll have to remove the brake rotors and the brake caliper. All right, so to remove the brake caliper from the knuckle, there's two bolts, one up here and then one here at the bottom as well. Here's the other one. So we're just gonna remove those two and put the brake caliper to the side, and should be able to have us access the brake rotor. Now to remove the bottom one. By the way, these are 19mm bolts, fairly long. Here's the top one that I removed. So, just FYI. Good thing to, if you have time, always to soak them in WD-40 ahead of time. Even the bolts in the back holding the hub. I'll show you that in a little bit here after I remove this. All right, so once both bolts are off, I'm gonna set the caliper off to the side. I have a jack here to keep it up so that the brake lines are not stretched. Comes off like that. Just gonna put it to the side here, keep it up so that this line is not being tensioned on, keeps it from being stretched out. And I'll pull out this rotor here, place it to the side. Now we need to get to the 4 bolts that are in the back of this hub. You can see them right here. There's the 4 bolts, 1, 2, and other 2 on the other side. I'll show you back here how it looks like. So just put a little bit of WD-40 on it, and then use a little flathead screwdriver to help me take this off. And then now you have access to the 4 bolts here that need to come off. So we'll remove that. Once we remove that, then we'll move on to the next step of removing this actual hub. All right, so after you remove the rotor and the brake caliper, you put it to the side like I have here, you should be able to remove the 4 bolts in the back, and technically this hub should come off. But if yours is like mine, it's kind of stuck on there, seized on there, then you'll probably need a slide hammer, which is what I'm gonna use here. Bought this on Amazon. It's about $70. So it has several other things you can do with it, like dent remover, pulling adapter, sealed, other sorts of different things. So I'm just going to use the front hub puller. So let's see here. Instructions, we'll be using this one here, putting this onto the hub here, and then using this to slide and pull this out. All right, so first thing we're gonna put is the hub adapter on here. I'm gonna use the lug nuts to put this in place. Next, we're gonna slide this into here. So I'm going to hold this out of the grip here so all the forces come towards the back, away from the vehicle. There you go, just like that. Got it off. All right, so here is the old one, and here's the new one. The old one had used coil bearings in the hub, and should be the exact same thing here. Part number almost is pretty much the same thing too as well, 89544-50020. So I'm guessing this is probably the OEM replacement. The one I bought was Tipkim, something like that. Brand, so I'll put that in the description. So reverse order for installation, as the saying, you know, pretty much of how you removed it. And let's go ahead and put it back on. All right, so let me go ahead and put this back in place. Put those bolts back in here. Just gonna hand turn them down for now. Get them all in place. And then we're gonna torque them down afterwards. If you're also doing brakes, rotors, brake pads, this is the perfect time to go ahead and change out that rotor and also change out those brake pads, since you gotta remove the brake pads and the rotors anyway. So another thing is you can turn the wheel you know, all the way out, so that way you can get better access to the bolts to either loosen them if you need to, or pretty much to torque them down. It's probably what I'm going to try to do here in a little bit after I hand tighten these. Don't forget to plug your wheel hub sensor in the back after you're done. All right, so I turned the wheel all the way out so I can have access to these two bolts here, so I can torque them down. So let's go ahead and try to torque them down right now. Kind of already got them tightened down. All right, down to 51 foot-pounds of torque. All right, so these four here are gonna be 51 foot-pounds of torque, 51. So now I'm gonna turn the wheel the other way so I can get to these two bolts here, and I'll torque those two down too as well. All right, so wheel turned fully on this side as well. And torque these down to 51 as well. Back up this camera a little bit. All right, there you go. Now I'm gonna turn the wheel back straight so I can put on the caliper and the brakes and the brake rotors, and then I'm gonna torque the caliper back down to the knuckle here on these two. All right, so brake rotors back on, now the caliper's back on, and we're gonna torque these two bolts that we took off down to 81 foot-pounds of torque. So it's gonna be a little bit higher, 81. So let's go ahead and torque them down. That's it, 81 foot-pounds of torque. So that should pretty much conclude the wheel hub and wheel bearing installation. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it for a drive to see how, if I'm still hearing any noises, and see if there's still any movement. If not, then hey, that'd be good. So hopefully this has been helpful. As always, I'm going to link the torque specs in the description. I'm going to link the part that I bought as well, so if anybody's interested. Thanks for watching.